Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And welcome back, everybody. Going to share an interesting situation that if you're in it, you can get some clarity, understand what's going on in life. Messages from the other side happened to me. I was with her. She is a psychic medium, does energy healing. She has presented me with a number of different things, but we actually got together in a Zoom, and she did a reading for me. Amazing. Just, I would have done it live here, but I didn't know what was going to come up, and just the way that things all planned out. But we're going to go over that and how I can support you as well. Alisha B is back with us. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you today?
Good. I'm still processing our session from a couple of weeks ago. What would you call that? What you did for me, and we'll break it down, some of the things that you revealed. I don't know where you get this info, but it's all accurate. What were you doing?
So that was a mix of, we did have actual spirits come through. So we had that at one portion. And then we talked a lot with your spiritual team. They were given a lot of information and connecting dots, I would say, for the reading. So as just a psychic reading. And then we had some mediumship with the passed over loved ones coming through.
Okay. We briefly skimmed the difference between the two, but let's go there before we get deeper into analyzing what came up. Difference between psychic reading and a mediumship reading.
Yes. So for my perspective, my understanding from what I've been told, is a mediumship reading deals with those that have had physical time here and have passed on. Whether they're a ghost, whether they made it to the spirit realm, doesn't matter. That's your mediumship category. And then your spirit category or psychic readings would be with spirit. So that would include your spirit team, angels, your guide, your higher self, and anybody else that steps in, ascended masters. There's a plethora that can come through, but that would be the psychic side.
When we first started, or you started in the session, what was your intent? What were you planning to get? What were you planning to provide? Or you just were open and whatever happens, happens?
Actually, the last thing, I was open. What I do is say, okay, I have Steve in front of me. Whoever needs to step forward with a message, or if there's a spiritual message that needs to come through, use me as a sounding board, as a mediator, and I'm here and ready to receive. And then they just start giving stuff. We can go in with direct questions. I believe we did have some direct questions in our session where I can look into something specific, but I allow them to kind of just give me a full picture for you to connect with and kind of make sense. Then just the one question, getting that and I'm like, but why? I go ahead and collect that as we go through.
And it was a beginning that continued once you started. For example, you said, I got a John, I got a Jacob. I don't know, what that is. And I didn't even know where we were going with it. I was just, I was along for the ride. And then I started thinking about it. And my father's name was John, but they called him Jack. And, I was thinking maybe that's the Jacob thing, the JAC.
Yes.
But I wasn't really sure. John's a very common name. Let's be honest.
That's what I was thinking when I heard it. I was like, oh, this is not going to make a connection.
Right. And the Jacob thing, I maybe that's a Jack, but I don't know. And quite honestly, I've had readings before with psychic mediums. He never comes up. My father doesn't come forward.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah, no. Only once there was somebody brought something through, and it was very random, but it was very specific. But that's it. My mom comes through all the time. So the John thing, okay. Common name, whatever. Jacob, Jack, Steve, are you looking to see, some could say that. You're looking for it. I don't know, whatever. Then I was going to play pickleball. I believe it was that night. And I had to bail on it because I had a little injury and I was like, I've never played in my life. So I was invited And then you said, yeah, well, I'm getting tennis. I don't know what it is. Well, okay, pickleball is like tennis. Then I started thinking, and I'm like, oh, my father used to play tennis with me and my sister. So then, all right, you're looking for something here. Then you continued, and he passed away when I was younger. Honestly, didn't know him very closely. However, there was something that took place in his life that I recently learned in the last year. Pretty big. Don't even need to get into it. What I do need to get into is the fact that you said when that took place, he was 53. And as I recount things back, he was. I don't know where you got that from. It's like just a random.
It was yelled at me.
Yeah. And I wondered how old he was when this event took place. Again, not even worth the event has nothing to do with this, but it was something impactful. And I always wondered if that, if he was 53, because that in my math, counting back, seemed about, and he passed about 5 years after that. I wondered if there was a connection to that, and you validated it. You validated it. And some other things that I wondered about. Based on all of this, yeah, that's him. He came through. There's no, I don't have a doubt in my mind, because it was, does that happen? Like we hit one piece of information, validation, then another. Does it usually happen like that?
Sometimes it can. I do what I call hit and misses. So I'll do a full reading like we did. Some things will miss, but that is because in that moment you may not make the connection. But
Yeah.
when you go back and you take a moment to think, there is a connection there. So they do just kind of, once you validate the first and we move forward and continue validating, oh yeah, that makes sense. They just continue to give like, oh, we're making sense. All right, here we go. Let's give more. And they just keep giving the information as long as we'll receive it.
Is there something I'm trying to remember, and I believe you sent me notes, right?
I did, yes.
Yeah.
That's one thing I always do with everybody is send them a copy of everything I've transcribed during the session.
And that was really cool. Just seeing, you scribbling, and it was just like, it's almost as if I had to look at the other side, how you do, what you do, what comes up. Am I missing anything? Did I leave something out? I'm trying to remember some other impactful points.
The only other thing was describing, and I'm sorry if this is personal as I bring it up, your ex to it, like pretty much to a T, describing this woman that came to me.
Thank you. I purposely forgot about that.
I know. That's why I was like, oh man.
You did right down to hair color and personality and current situation and all of that. Thank you for reminding me, because I totally forgot. And you could have just taken a guess, but there was too many accurate things even in that portion of the reading to ignore. You just can't ignore it. It's nobody else knows that. You're not going to go on any social media. Trust me, you're not going to find that. And you did. So just wow. Like with what you did for me, is that typically the way it goes? Like is I don't want to say textbook, but that's kind of how the readings go.
Yes, that is how like a general reading goes. There are times which they didn't do it for you, but that tells me in this moment you didn't need it. And that is bring your ancestors or past lives forward, because we were dealing with some big events occurring currently that doesn't have a connection to those past experiences. And so when if we do another reading, we can do it general and just invite ancestors or past lives to come through. But we had some questions we were working on where they didn't fit in, and so they didn't step forward. But that's something else that does happen quite often with readings.
Is it typically it's gonna come through because it's supposed to come through?
Yes, it is always from what you need in this moment. So they are connected with you throughout your entire life, and they will step forward in this moment what you need to hear, what you need to know to help forward propel you. For me personally, all of mine are my readings. We might touch on a dark subject, but they always have a what's better on the back end. Like something better is coming. We need to acknowledge this did occur, but we need to let it go because guess what? Here's what's coming for you now. And so they love to do that. Like we're going to highlight a down part and we're going to tell you to move on and we're going to show you what you're going to get next. So
I'm not really sure what the next is for me based on your reading, but I'm still processing it. In fact, I'll be honest, I'm looking at your notes right now and I'm going to show them on screen as best I can off of my phone. And I have to go through these again because it's been, a week or so. I just saw a couple of words that you wrote that are right. I forgot about. And this basically, it's not going to mean anything to anybody. I just want you to see, it's not going to display. A little bit like that. It's just you writing, you doodling. You did talk about a building of multiple levels.
I did. Yes.
You actually drew it.
I did.
I'm trying to figure that out because you said it had, at least 3 levels, maybe 4. The building I'm in is a 2-level office building. And you were referring to what seems like an office building, but more floors than that. So I'm not really sure where what the meaning could be. I'm guessing it will reveal at some point.
I feel like it will. I'm getting chills as you say that. So that's just confirmation for me. You'll see the building and know this will come up and you'll be like, that's it. That's the connection. And
looking at moving on up, you started singing that song.
Yes, that's right.
Jefferson's moving on up. Yeah,
moving on. Yes, I do remember that now. We were talking about business aspects of things. Yeah, and that's what they just started singing for you. So.
Does that mean that when you say they, who are they?
That would be your spiritual team. Mm-hmm.
Do you?
They just send them moving on up. Okay.
They're all together singing.
Yeah.
I almost sounded like a gospel. Moving on up. Who are they? Do you know who they are?
For namesake, no, I didn't ask. I can ask, and sometimes they will give. It was your guide. Actually, it was 2 guides and an angel that stepped forward to talk with me in different aspects of what we were communicating. A different one would be like, oh, that's my turn to talk, or we're all going to talk together. Mm-hmm.
Would you say on the business side of things, based on moving on up, the building with 3 levels and just the vibe, does that sound like there's an improvement in business coming my way?
Oh, yes, because if I remember specifically, they said you were now going to be the boss. Like you're moving into the boss. And like, this is what they showed me, like you stepping back and I'm now the boss. I don't have to, I'm going to make this run efficiently. I'm going to make this work. And I can breathe now because I've made it to this point. So I definitely feel, there's things coming.
Depends on how you define boss. I have a company. I am the boss. But I wonder what this is. But I am working on some other stuff. So I wonder if that's refers to that.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting. Like it's, again, for people who are skeptical, I get it. But all of these pieces, the way they were laid out in the reading, I can't deny it. And I'm very skeptical. I really am. It's not like,
and I appreciate that very much. Yes.
Steve is not just drinking the Kool-Aid. It's like, okay, whatever you say. No, I'm like, okay, can't deny that. And then the next thing, like the building, the 3-level, moving on up, it will be revealed at some point, whatever that is. The other stuff, and I'm not going to say the word, but there was a word that you used in a description for something. It's spot on. It made me laugh. Like, yeah, you're right. You're damn right. It's crazy, silly, crazy.
It's kind of like almost unnerving for other people. Are like, wait, you don't know me. How do you know that? How do you know these aspects of my life? And it's not that we're stalking you as readers. We honestly have no idea who you are. It is your team coming forward, or your spiritual guests. That would be a good way to put it. Coming forward to give us that information. So.
Wow. What do you say to people who, and understandably, maybe skeptical. There's, maybe they're sitting there, I don't really know, come on, it's kind of general, that kind of thing. What do you say?
I think skepticism is important in life altogether. There are readers out there that are not actual readers. And so skepticism gives you that degree of stepping back and evaluating the information coming forward. For my readings, there's always specific connects that you would know about. Whomever stepped forward, they would know about. But I, as a person, like you said, you can't find it on social media. You would have to actually know these people. And that's the kind of information that we get to make that connection to kind of let you know, okay, this is real. We're not a scam. We're actually getting information that nobody else would know about you. But skepticism is always good.
Based on what you provided me, what should I walk away with? What should I walk away thinking? Just, broadly, the different little pieces about my life, about my father who passed, business, like as a whole, or a couple of pieces. What would you say?
As a whole, sorry, they decided to just step in right here. What I'm seeing is as a whole, you are changing and elevating as a person. So you're doing all these things here in this pot, that pot, but is taking your whole soul and bringing it up to where it might have been in a little bit of a shadowed area. You're starting to get that inner peace, inner confidence, and just stand as who you are and be comfortable with that. And that's the general aspect of what they're giving. They're showing you your past, your present, and future aspects, but it's because you've done work for self that all of this is possible.
Before I ask that question, I'm going to be honest. I got something from my father. I'm not kidding.
Did you?
I did.
That's beautiful.
It was a message.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. That's for you. Don't share that. I'm so glad he stepped through for you.
It's almost like the freaking door opened.
Like, right when they walk through, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Like a moment of clarity. Weird.
That's beautiful.
Weird.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
Freaky weird. Interesting. Do they come and go? Like, how does it work? I'm trying to figure it out.
They do. They'll come in. You mean like your spirits information? Oh yeah, they flow in and out. And so on spirit side, they have to. It's almost like collect energy to come forward and give us messages. Right. On the mediumship, or past loved ones, things of that nature. They have to collect that energy to deliver it to us. On the spirit side, so your guides, angels, they live in that, and they can come anytime. They can communicate 24/7 if you want them to. I don't advise it. You would never sleep. They have lots to say. But they're more consistent in time framing than those that have had a physical life. They're a little bit shorter.
What I just learned here today is when you open the door, and we did by discussing the reading.
Yes.
It's almost as if you're inviting them in.
Yes.
How come they
it's acceptance and trust. Yeah.
Why don't they just show up? Or maybe they do and we're not listening. And is it, if that's the case, is that because we're kind of focusing on, my situation, and that's why it's clear?
Yes. So when the great thing is we discuss this, and that does give spirit, because when I do a reading with someone, it's an automatic invite for them to come forward. When we discuss a reading, I am still inviting them to bring clarity. If a message is, muddy, if we need to bring clarity, I invite them to come back through. And so when they step forward, I think it's beautiful that you got the communication directly, because that says just what I had said like a few minutes before. You have accepted and trusted in your truth, and that's allowing them to actually make that connect. Is just trust and opening the door and being available to receive. Yeah. Being willing and available.
What I just got, there's no denying it. Crazy. Like it was so clear.
Like, thrilled for you. I'm so thrilled for you.
Silly, like wild. And I'm not looking for it. I'm not like trying to, I need to get it out. So I'm going to believe whatever comes in. No, I'm just sitting here like, oh, wait a minute. Whoa, that was, and I get why the message came through.
Perfect.
I get why the message came through. Yeah.
I'm just through the roof for you. I know that's one thing that you were working on, opening yourself to receiving, and it happened. And that is so exciting for me for
Bizarre.
that to happen.
But what's so weird again is it was clear. Like, it's almost as if, stay with me on this, that I got transported out of this moment for a split second, like, whew, and back down again.
Yes.
Has that happened to you?
I would call that almost like akin to a channel. You literally, a lot of people, that channel, we call it as stepping aside. So moving out of this physical thing. When spirit really wants to get a message to you and you are available, like they see you're available, they will take you out to get that personal connect. And so you had that personal touch to it versus just having what I call subtext, where we were talking and then have a thought underneath what you were thinking. That's another way you receive messages. It's almost like a subtext. It just flies in there. But it's a beautiful moment that was created to give you that personal aspect of it and lack of a better word, make it hit home, make you understanding and actually have that connection where you weren't distracted by something else. It was a brief moment out of time, linear time.
You were talking, and I hear and heard every word before. But it's almost as if somebody got my attention. It's my father. And said, over here, I got to tell you something. And it was just a clarity on a current situation. But it was almost like taking the football and just spiking it in there for a second. And that was it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. I wanted to hear it. Maybe I didn't want to hear it, but I need to hear it. And that's what it was.
You need to. Yes.
It's crazy. Mm-hmm. How do we do that on our own? Do we just ask, come on, show me a sign, bring something to me? Can you do that? Does that work?
You can. And I often tell people to do that. Another thing is you have to, we keep saying this, trust that it's going to come. Trust that when you ask that question, you're going to get a response and you're going to understand that response. I recently am going to be publishing or I created a meditation for you to get that centered consciousness to help you learn to open that third eye and make a connection. And so that is coming out, but it's guided and some people like guided better. But what you can do is just take that moment, put it out there. What is the best way for me to go? Where do I need to go from here?
Ask the question.
And then trust you're going to receive and say, I'm ready for the answer and I accept the answer as it comes. Because that's telling them you're not going to deny when they come through. You're going to accept whatever it comes, good, bad, and different. It's just a message. And that's what they're telling you.
I think where I don't want to say I've made a mistake, but I went a different route. Many times I just say, spirit guides, whoever you are, just reveal yourself. I'm just trying to connect with you. I'm not asking questions ever. The only time, and even when I connected with my mom, I will just ask her to show me a sign or show me that it's going to be all right. Whatever, maybe it's a situation. Mm-hmm. But I never ask, specifics. I'm getting from you, go specific. It's okay.
Go specific, yes. Rhetoricals are great if you want big picture. So that would be my life purpose. What's my life purpose? That's a rhetorical because we don't know consciously our actual purpose. And so that's a very broad question. But you can go as specific as, what choice do I need to make? Which choice is best for me? Which choice serves my highest timeline, my highest self? And that's when they'll give you that answer because what it's showing spirit, one, you're seeking guidance, but you are also working on yourself to elevate yourself to your highest purpose, your highest self. And so they will help guide you and cultivate that as you move forward.
Crazy. Thank you. Thank you for all the insight.
You're so welcome.
Just keeps going. It's crazy. You can do this for anyone like you did for me. And, again, we did it virtually. Actually, no, I take that back. It was a phone call. We weren't even,
it was on a phone call.
We didn't even see each other. wild. That's why you're the professional of the year. How do we find you? What's the best way?
Best way is insightpsychics.com/Alisha. You can text or leave me a message at 256-469-8111. And that is my best avenue right now. I'm working on an email so you can email directly, but I haven't got one out yet. So
waiting for that, and also the meditation that you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We need it. And there's many of them out there, but we need it from you because you are clear, to the point, easy to understand, doesn't get too deep and mucky. I just want to press a button on my phone and listen to something and get something from it. And feel that it's not too deep for me or anybody else, and that's what you deliver. So waiting for that.
You.
Yeah, and thank you so much for the reading. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited for you.
We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jason Derulo. I love that music connects to people all over the country. But unfortunately, so does something else. Childhood hunger. 15 million kids struggle with hunger right here in America. And yet, every year, billions of pounds of surplus food in the U.S. go to waste instead of going to the children in need. Feeding America is working to change this. The Feeding America nationwide network of food banks rescues this surplus of food to help provide meals to families in virtually every community in the United States, including yours. But they just can't do this alone. Join me in the fight against hunger in America. For more information on what you can do to get involved, visit feedingamerica.org. That's feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America. A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.